Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the 165th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-hosts Andrew Norman and Brandy S. Today is the unbelievably massive topic of codependency. Would you share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you are happy to discuss this here today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you guys, man. Good to see you guys. I love both of you. Love both of you immensely. This man, I as soon as I said, Brandy, you picked the topic, and she picked this topic, I went, oh man, why did we just do that? Why did we just do that? But then obviously now that we're in recovery, this is an opportunity for growth. As we were coming into this thing in the little pre-meeting, we were like, I think we're about to figure this all out right now on the fly. Because this is a really good one. This is a really good one. This is one that a lot of people shy away from. You hear it dabbled in the meetings every once in a while, but it's not like a sponsorship topic or like one of those things that people love to talk about, you know. And it's more about it's about more than relationships. It's about an identity thing here, right? It's an identity boundary control. People losing themselves. When you get wrapped up in this codependency and what we're talking about here, people tend to lose their identity, trying to fix or manage or be needed by others. It was a huge blind spot for me early. Codependency is often described as excessive emotional or physiological, psychological reliance on another person. And a lot of times as an addict, this shows up as, needing validation, trying to fix others, basing our self-worth on someone else's acceptance of what we're doing, people pleasing. I mean, there's the undertone of people pleasing, that's kind of the rare form that will really eat you up. And I think if you, as I have, my little dabbings with it, like, it's hard to spot because as I read more into it, the person there's two sides of it, right? Brandy, and I know Brandy will get into that a little bit. She hit us with that last night in the group chat, but it was trying to control outcomes over involving myself in somebody else's life without even really knowing it. Feeling empty without their approval, that other person's approval, whatever that other side is. Like if I'm not getting that approval, and you almost live your life more for that other person than they do. And so you're not only allowing them to continue doing what they're doing on that downward spiral, whatever it is that they're doing, but you're just putting fuel on it. You're just putting gas on a fire at that point. And then you become the actual source of the problem almost. I don't know. That's kind of like as I read into it, and as I really read into it, this is so beautiful, man. This podcast, this whole thing here, because it makes us focus on this thing. We're getting ready to talk about this thing for a couple hours, and it's beautiful. And I'm gonna leave it there. There's a lot that goes into this. We will all have our own little spins on it, but I'm so glad that we're at a point where we want to tackle something like this today, man. I'd be running from this back in the day. So thank you for bringing this up, Brandy. I love you. What does it mean to
you? Yep.
Man, well, I think that this trio right here is perfect because I think it's different levels, and I'm the one that's like, soaked in codependency. I've realized. I just have other issues that I dipped into codependency. But a fun fact, when I was looking in this stuff, did you know that codependency was discovered or created, I guess, in 1950 by AA? And it was for support partners of individuals who abuse substances. So that's when it was even like formed,
Wow.
the
So
word. Isn't that crazy?
Al-Anon was
Yeah.
built off codependency.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was super interesting because, like words, I feel like that codependency's been around forever. But when you think about it, man, so I thought that was a super fun
That's a great way
fact.
to
Like,
start. Where it started at. There you go.
yeah. Yeah. So, and, like codependency is one of those topics that you could talk about forever. But at the same time, do you want to talk about it? Because then you discover stuff about yourself. And I know I have completely, and there's that like empathy versus codependency. Like, where's that line? How do you know it's one or the other? And I think it can be super unhealthy, but I think the empathy part is the part that we all want to, that's the ultimate goal, but codependency is something for me. I know that I haven't really touched on in my recovery. And I think this is a great opportunity to start with it. I sent that same thing to my sponsor last night that I sent to you guys. And I'm like, mind blown, mind blown.
Mm.
And I have this like feeling we'll be working on that after we're done with this one book. But it's something that it can be crippling. So I think it's a good thing to be aware of. Good awareness of codependency is important because it can be, crippling to oneself for sure. You lose yourself in so many ways. So I'll leave it there because there's so much to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Woo.
that's dope.
I could smell a part 2 to part 35 on this one.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
It's so gigantic. So I'm gonna just read something that I looked up here, and then I'm gonna go into my interpretation. But codependency is the unhealthy reliance on another person's approval, validation, or stability for our sense of worth. It often manifests in controlling, rescuing, enabling, and losing ourselves in others. In active addiction, this was a common pattern. We substituted relationships for drugs or attached ourselves to other loneliness in response to others to avoid loneliness or responsibility. In recovery, we learn that codependency blocks our spiritual growth because it keeps us trapped in self-obsession disguised as caring. The solution is
Yeah.
balance, learning healthy love, practicing boundaries, and depending ultimately on a higher power for our sense of value. I think the first thing I realized in my recovery with codependency was pity parties. It was like I had friends where it was like our structure of friendship was calling and who could out pity the partier. Like we would just be like,
Yeah.
no, I got this. Well, no, but yeah, but you just no, but and it was just like who could be the most piteous, and for me that was like whoa, like that relationship. Those relationships, it wasn't just one. It wasn't just one. Like when I say I was the prince of the pity party, I mean I had a kingdom. I had a kingdom and a whole bunch of barons.
Oh man.
They carry you in
I
on that
love.
bed like they're all carrying it and they're doom.
Yeah.
It would be just like, okay, Thursday is him and Saturday is her, and it would be just like pity potty, pity potty, and we'd be
I
back and
love
forth.
it.
But one thing that I've come to realize is that inside my family relationships, right? It was like I became the scapegoat for unhappiness. Like it was like, okay, I will take, like I will be the scapegoat for your anger, and that will kind of allow me to go use.
Mm.
You know, and so now when I'm not using, I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be the scapegoat for anger because I don't have like anything on these scales of justice to balance that out with. It's like so things have to change. And you know, I just don't want my emotions to be dependent on other people. Like
Yeah.
the bottom line is that that's anti-surrender. Like that is the exact opposite of
Ooh.
surrender. Like
Yeah.
and not only that is that if I am like planning my actions to create your reality, I'm no longer in conscious contact with my higher power. I am living in the future.
Mm.
And then when I'm like in the shame and guilt of not having satisfied your life, I'm living in the past. gone again from my higher power. Guess who is totally disconnected and now living in defects and shortcomings? That's right, shortcoming Starcic here. And I can go deep and I can go fast.
Starcic.
And so I feel like this is the topic that I know the very least about that we've ever talked about. So I'm really happy to come here and to learn and to see your guys' insights from your life. And let's just fucking roll this into questions. Love you guys. Like,
love it.
Extremely.
It's really cool, man. It's really cool.
I'm excited.
We always talk about like people, Tom Smith comes on here and likes to talk about stuff that he either wants to know more about or like the spicy stuff. Like this is us doing it for ourselves almost, like on this one. It's really cool. It's really cool. So I'm going to ask you, Brandy, when did you first notice codependent patterns in your life? We'll start off there. I know. It's not going to be any good ones. So.
I know. So it's funny. So when I think about, I this pops in my head sometimes, and then, obviously diving into this, it made me like realize it. So my mom, was in and out of treatment my whole life, and my grandma just, she didn't deal with addiction or anything like that, but she was not saved from it. I mean, it was all around. And I remember one day her telling me, I don't know how old I was. I was a kid though. And she's like, you're the codependent in the family. And I remember thinking, ooh, codependent. Like it was a good, like they were dependent on me. Like,
do I get a badge?
I'm important.
Do I get a badge?
Yeah. And for so long, I'm like, I'm the codependent. And like, I didn't understand what it meant, but it was there. And then like, of course, I think more kind of want to get into recovery. I think I realized that wasn't necessarily something I should wear a badge about. And, but I don't think I noticed it as an early age until I looked back. And I mean, codependency has been like I've been riddled with it my whole life, and I was reading also that like codependency is a learned behavior. And it also, stems from, there's a lot of like, trauma and neglect and stuff like that. And I was telling my husband this morning, I was like, man, like not only did I get, my addiction from I'll say my mom, but from my family, we're addicts. I go, but I also got my codependency, like a double whammy right there. So it's something that I know I've dealt with probably my whole life. But I didn't recognize it as that. I didn't even understand what it was. Like I said, I thought I needed like a badge. Like this was, I'm the codependent. So, you know who you're talking to. and instead it's like, but to look at it now and see that, like, where do I start? Where do I start to change that? And I know that, it has changed in a lot of ways in my years and just my life and just the shit I've gone through, the good and the bad. And but it's been a lifelong thing for me. And I think I'm a little bit like excited but anxious to dive into it because now I want to. Like I'm grateful for my recovery and I will always be doing steps for sure, but I like to dive deeper into things. Like, I don't want to be bored. Like, I got some resentment, stuff like that. Like, no, I want to know why the fuck I care so much about everybody else's feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to I don't want to practice gratitude. I want to know why, you know what I mean? I don't want to do the easy stuff.
Exactly.
I want to do the hard stuff, right?
Exactly.
I
do.
Well, I want to practice gratitude and do the hard stuff.
Well, you know what I meant. You know what I meant. We're always practicing gratitude.
I'm ready to be uncomfortable with stuff because for me, I feel like that's growth, especially if I can go towards it. Like my sponsor says, healthy people move towards their problems.
Yes.
And so that's what I like to. So yeah, it's definitely, I didn't recognize it until I was an adult. Till recently, maybe the last 4 years, but it's definitely been with me as long as I can remember.
What made you come up with when we hit you? What made you just pop right out with codependency? Is there something that it just
was
popped
quick,
in?
right?
God, yeah, it was quick. God. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like it was God because I gave myself a second. I was like, I liked like something deep, and I'm like, I couldn't think of anything else. That was the first thing that popped up. My codependency.
Yeah.
When you said that, my brain just went, I can't argue that. Can't argue that one.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
I
So
felt like
definitely
I
higher
was
power.
swimming in the ocean where it's like, there's that big wave coming. I'm like, I know I can
Yeah.
make it through it,
Yeah.
but I was like a little bit
Yeah.
intimidated.
We've been doing this
I like
podcast for a
that.
little while. It's like we've been slamming all these topics down, man, just waxing poetic, right? And then this one comes, and we're all like, yeah, hold on, you want
Yeah.
to do? You want to
I
go
like
there?
I
that to
feel
be
like I
able
might have to
to
sit in the corner, like I'm going to get in
yeah.
trouble here.
Oh man, that's so
I
funny.
know. I love
All
it. I love you
right.
guys are game. So
Yeah, hell yeah. So, Milan, when
Yes.
did you first notice codependent patterns in your life?
So I can honestly say I didn't know shit about it till recovery.
Me too.
Uh, like I can retrospectively spot it like fucking 30 years ago in my life, you know?
mhm.
Yeah.
But it was, so my friend Young Gabriel, who you've met,
Mm-hmm.
on the
Yep.
meetings and stuff before.
Yep.
He was in treatment like 6 weeks before me, and when he finished his first set of steps in treatment, because he kind of did a longer chunk of time in there than I did, and then went into second stage there. He started doing a set of coda steps, and and so I remember sitting and talking to him about it, and I was like, oh, that's me too. And then I like
Mm.
it was for him. It was in an attempt to free him from this past relationship that kind of kept haunting him in his life, and also kind of getting him to go back out. You know, like that there was a codependency where it was kind of like she was the fuck it button for him. You know,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, you know, when I look at it, there was tons of examples where I created my family to be my fuck it button. You know, like they were like, oh, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm happy, whatever it was, you know, it was like, you are the reason that I am giving my hall pass to myself to go hit that dealer today when I swore up and down I wasn't good. And it
Mm.
wasn't me. You know, like I was like, no, 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 I'm doing this because they did that, you know?
Yeah.
And
Oh
and it
yeah.
was just like, you know, I was like the slingshot. It was like, you pull it back and I'll fly through the air, like wherever you aim me. But that's what I've learned in recovery is that that's me, you know? And so it was probably about 4 weeks into my recovery where I first saw it. And then I had another sponsee who was kind of reading about it and would talk to me about it. I've actually, oh, like this close. I was this close to getting my wife to go to codependency meetings with me. You know, like
Mm.
because there is some up in Kelowna, and I was like, you know, this is something we could do together. It would give you the opportunity to do a set of steps, and I don't think it's off the table. I just think it's just not her time yet. But
Yeah.
like I think she recognizes that it exists with us, and that awareness is the first step. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, prior to that, I had 51 years of bliss of ignorance. Like I was like, there's no
I
fucking
know.
codependency. I was just like, it's all your
Ignorance
fault.
is
There was no
bliss. Yeah.
codependency. Everything's just your
Yeah.
fault. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Right. I love you. I love that. That's so
Yeah.
true.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, man. So when did I first notice codependent patterns in my life? That was going to be my answer at the start, man. Milan, I didn't have a clue what that meant. Um, I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know. I had no idea that that was even a term. And so when I got in here, I started hearing that. Um, yeah, I can look back retrospectively now and say, hey, I had a lot of that going on in my, a lot of all my relationships. Really, I think in every relationship, like as a significant other, we're all going to deal with that a little bit, right?
Mm.
I feel like you can't really can't get married to somebody and not have some kind of give and take on the codependency thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be a healthy give and take on that thing. And I guess we can get into a little more of that later. It's just as my brain is wrapped around it, I'm thinking there has to be a little bit of that, but it can be healthy too. But for me, and it was a few months in realizing that I had gotten into a relationship early, but when I wouldn't get those phone calls back, I wouldn't get the text back. It was more than just like a they didn't answer. It was more like a what I do wrong, and I couldn't really get rid of I couldn't shake the feelings. It was like what I needed to do more, I'm not enough, and we have that problem anyways, feeling like we're not enough, like we don't feel worthy of, right? So when it's that significant other, the one that's supposed to be there for us when we need that other person, and they're not, for whatever reason, even if they're just not available, we're like, fuck, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? And that's where it gets really unhealthy. And so I dealt with a lot of that, man. But I was in relationships that weren't healthy to begin with, married women, things like that. That was like my thing. And so not really that I went that way. It was just it would just happen in the line of work I was in, with real estate agents, guys and gals. If you're a real estate agent out there and you're married to one, oh man, good luck.
I'm literally a real estate agent.
I said that. No, I know you are. No, I know you are. No, I know you are. I meant like
you meant it. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not codependent on your opinion of real estate agents.
You are my friend. I don't care what. Look, but I'm saying, good luck. The real estate parties and y'all have, bro. Good luck. Anyways, so
there might be different parties.
Bro, I'm talking about. It was wild. It was wild. I mean, and I'm just an inspector. I was a home inspector and shit, man. I would just roll to these houses and I would just, yeah. So
inspect.
Yes, I would inspect moisture inspections. So still
that just sounds dirty.
No, that's how you do termite moisture.
I'm just saying.
They would hit me with like, you come in to do a moisture inspection. I'm like, no. No
comment. I mean,
anyways, I'm serious, man. We can get a whole podcast going on.
I love it. That's so funny.
I want to get a shirt that says moisture inspector.
Yes.
I would have to. I had a moisture. I had like a little moisture meter. A moisture meter that could tell you the moisture, like it would put it in the wood, and it would tell you the moisture level in the wood. And anyways,
we can take that any direction.
So I just close my eyes and I'm not picturing termites.
So look, when I realized that it wasn't only in relationships, that's in this program was what taught me that it wasn't only in those romantic relationships. It was with my family. Yeah. I would do that too with my family, like over pleasing the whole, like trying to make things right. I would change my feelings on the situation just to make everything okay. I did that all the time. I would overextend. Then I thought about this. At work was the worst for me. I would overextend. I would overcommit. I would do more work just to be like that person at work. And it was not at the times where like, hey, we're working towards more money or whatever. I would just do that shit because I wanted to be I felt like I had to be that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was killing myself, bro. I was doing side jobs. I would make all this money for the company. Then I was doing work on the side for their people. Like, that's not legal. It's not legal.
Well, and you wear yourself out. Yeah, it's like that 150% all the time.
Bro, and so it was just fucked up. And I was working 7 days a week. I was just going. For what? For what?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I put myself last. I would lie about my feelings, put myself last to make the whole greater. And bro, that is codependency at its worst, man. I confuse being indispensable. I confuse being indispensable with being loved. That's what I have written down.
Ooh. Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
That's where I was. The lines blurred, man, because I'm like, I'm being loved. That's my thing. Need that, right? But it was just that I was indispensable in this spot, but I confused it with love, right? So when I got clean and started working a program, love, what it was, and here's the back end of this. That was just love wrapped in sacrifice.
Yeah.
You with me? It was love wrapped in sacrifice. And so that's kind of my spin on it when I thought about that question, because obviously we come up with our own questions, so we can kind of come up with our own answers on that. That's what I thought about when I truly started realizing what this thing was and how I could hopefully not go do this as much going forward. It's not just about putting down the drugs. It's about letting go of the chains wrapped around my heart, thinking that was a connection, so All right, man. That was my answer.
That was a
Good
beautiful
answers,
answer,
guys.
dude. This topic
I had to
is
write that
just
down.
sizzling hot.
I love you
Yeah.
guys, man.
I love it. Okay. It's my turn, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Milan, I'm asking you, Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Milan, how did, I know you kind of answered this, but you can always go into it more, of course. How did codependency show up in your active addiction?
Well, I answered that definitely. Well, okay. I think also, in addition to what I was saying about my family relationships, right? Codependency was totally there in my friend relationships. It was like, like how many times did I end up like being the supplier of something for somebody in exchange for friendship? That was like in my mind at the time, like just like real affection. And then when the party was over, where were the people, right?
Yeah.
Like when I got straight for 18 months, not one of those friends called me. Like, I really realized in that white knuckle chunk of time there, and it was kind of good that that happened before I came into recovery, because that allowed me to actually see that it was like misery loves company, and
Yeah.
and also that that there's a lot of takers. There's a lot of takers who are definitely not ever going to give, and it was quite an eye opener for me in that respect. And then like, I mean, obviously there's the codependency between me and my dealer, right? Like I'm putting his kids through fucking college, and and he's
Yeah.
like he's available a little bit extra for me than other people. Like I don't have to kick his door down at 5 a.m. He'll open it for me. Like, and but I think that I wrapped it all up in a pretty bow, in that I was a good provider. I was a good provider. So then that gave me like just a little bit of leeway on the absence and the partying. And, like I always said, and it was pretty true, that basically I was a 90-10 husband, or dad. Like 90% of the time I was awesome, but 10% of the time I sucked shit. And like bad shit, like just bad, like so bad. But the other 90% of the time it was like 5 stars, Google review. Like, and so it was just like I could, like I could afford to be the scapegoat for my wife's anger. In order for that, like that was our trade, was like good most of the time, except except being the scapegoat for other people's feelings, and then get my freedom. And yeah, so
Yeah,
I think that's it for me on that one.
That's a good answer. And I love
that
how it
is.
could be like kind of the same kind of like answer or question, answer, whatever, and you could come up with something else to say. So that
Yeah,
was good.
let's spin it. I'll
All
take that
right.
question.
How did codependency show up in your active addiction?
Um, well, again, I couldn't really spot it, but like in my active addiction, I mean, I was spiritually bankrupt, is what they say, right? Spiritually bankrupt. A lot of it was from fear, like the fear of abandonment, rejection, and all that stuff. You know, I used to say yes when I wanted to say no. That's a big thing. Saying yes when you want to say no is a big thing with codependency. And I used to do that shit all the time. And I would just say yes, just to like be okay with the situation. And then I would like mentally deal with it afterwards. Like, what did I just sign up for? You know, like I remember feeling like responsible for other people's happiness in active addiction. But it was always around the drugs. But I always felt like I had to bring the party or bring the show. Like Milan is saying, it's always got to be this big grand thing, man. It's got to be the best party, biggest pity party going. Got to out pity party you. Got to out party you. Got to outdo everything. Because I just wanted to be. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that feeling is. I'll keep it on me. I'm sure y'all dealt with it in your own ways, but you know, believe, and here's the thing. Look, I used to feel like if I loved somebody enough that they would change.
Mm.
Right? Like I could just love them into to being the way I wanted them to be. Like if I loved them enough, they would act a certain way. And then when it wouldn't happen, I would just get pissed off, blow the shit up, whatever it was. Even if it was a special person in my life, I didn't really care because I didn't really know. I couldn't put a thumb on that this was a bad thing at all, right? Because I'm still throwing that love out there. I'm still loving, like I'm still doing good things. Love is not negative, right? And so, um, um, when I first got clean, I was replacing people with the drugs with the people. You know, I would use people. Um, and I guess that's okay early. I guess there's going to be a little bit of that, right? We get into that discussion where like newcomers, like we allow them to use us a little bit, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we know what they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we allow a little bit of that because they're coming from this place of like, I mean, they're just slam packed full of codependency when they come in here. I don't think you can be an addict and not be wrapped up in that shit for one
Yeah.
way, for one reason or another, for the drugs or for your emotions. Like it's all wrapped in one. Like the drugs are just a byproduct of this thing, right? They just make everything worse. So
Right.
we just came in here, you know, spraying just hot fire on the way in with the codependency, being on drugs, trying to come off drugs, thinking it's a mental thing. Is it mental because it's the drugs? Is it only the drugs? Do I have a mental disease? Like, there's a lot of questions we have coming in here. So, and a lot
Yeah.
of questions we still have because as we get older, life goes on, like we change and our values and things change. We just gotta ebb and flow with life, man. I gotta stay with you guys and staying tapped into these meetings and talk. These discussions are gonna keep me out of that. Um, you know, but I would get anxious when people pulled away from me, like it was like I did it. And if it was just
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull away, they didn't have time or whatever, man. It's not on me. Why am I gonna get upset about that? You know, so that's kind of my answer.
You
You
know, I was
know,
I love
thinking
that.
kind of like a side thought on all that, and which could even be deeper. Like to think about like the codependency we created in other people in our active addiction.
yeah,
And
it's a cycle. It's a
that's
vicious
it
cycle.
is yeah, it's totally a cycle. It is. And I mean that's like I say, it's a mimicked or it's created. It's implanted into us, you know, it's something we don't
Yeah,
just like, I think I want to be codependent today for no reason. There
no.
are things that definitely go into that.
And
Yeah.
once you learn like healthy boundaries, like don't push people away. They create healthy space in that relationship.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like healthy boundaries aren't going to push people away. Healthy people, they're going to create that
Yeah.
boundary that you need. And saying no is not unloving. Maybe sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do for somebody to say no.
Yeah.
You
And it's
gotta,
always like the ones that need the boundaries will resist them the most. But
yes.
it's just almost like, you know, clarifying, okay, then these need to be here. Yeah.
It's your disease in walking form right there, man. Talking,
Yep.
walking form. So
Yeah. All right. How did my codependency or how did codependency show up in my active addiction? Man, so much. Like I was saying, I
I'm
knew
all ears.
man, we got time, right? Like I knew I was you know, I was obviously now realized that I've been codependent for quite a while, but at the same time, like when it came to my active addiction, man, it was I was thinking about Milan when you were saying like the 90-10. Like I was the opposite. At least that's what I felt like I was. Like, you know, I would show up that 10% is gold. And maybe it wasn't so much that, but there was definitely a lot different ratio. And but like I remember sitting there, like I had let down it like genuinely, not just like how's he feeling? Like let my husband down so many times that there was a point where everything that he thought of me, I thought of me. And like I just never thought I was good enough. Like if he'd come home, he wouldn't say hi. I'm like, what did I do? Is he okay? Like what, you know, and a lot of that was guilt and shame with it. But the having to, you know, for me, like the codependence, like everything that I, like I said, thought of myself. And I remember I told my counselor that in treatment, like, you know, like I want him to tell me I'm doing a good job and tell me he's proud of me. And because of what he thinks I think. And she's like, no. no, no, no. You can't. That's not healthy. And and I didn't know how to think about myself. It was really, it was okay. Tell me if I'm good today. Tell me if I'm a good person today. Like, and it could be, turned around like at people pleasing. It's like, I think people pleasing is like a softer version, but it's still definitely huge in codependency.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very dependent on somebody that I had tried to not be my whole life, my mom. And it was for drugs, of course, but it was like, what kind of mood is she in? It's like, oh, I'll go clean her house for her, or anything to make her happy, because then I knew the return for me would always be a bonus. And like, how unhealthy is that when you think about it? And but when an active addiction with my kids, even, and I think that, though it's not active addiction today, but I think that my codependency is obviously still there, but in a different level, because it was, how can I make sure nobody leaves me or hates me, and that was my main source. It wasn't even really like what their thoughts and feelings were, like what if they had a bad day. It wasn't that. Are they mad at me today? Like, what can I do to make a difference so that they're not? And it was really, I lost all independence. Codependency, it really does. Who are you? You lose yourself in it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I didn't have my own opinion on who I was, or what my worth was. I was more like, I felt like, as a codependent, I felt like a nuisance, or what's the word I'm thinking of? Well, it's something like that, but I wasn't there for me. I was there for them, like, just to constantly trying to make up for whatever I did, whether they knew it or not. And it was really big for me to constantly confirm with myself, or from other people. Like, I was just always going for that validation, and like, I'm worthy to be here, right? And even if it wasn't said in words, the fact that I was still there made me feel like that. And yeah, so like, if it was something where I could tell my husband one time, whatever you say to me about me using drugs, I've said to myself 1,000 times already. And so it's like one of those things, I've already convinced myself of what I know he feels. And and it's like, so I don't even know what my own feelings are. I mean, really, I'm not that he thought it was a piece of shit, but like, in that depth of that thousands times of catching somebody, you're not going to have happy feelings towards them. And and that's just who I was. I was just grateful to not be kicked out, and not be like divorced without my kids. That if I'm a piece of shit and you think so, then I'm a piece of shit. That's what it is. Like, I'm not doing good because you say I'm not doing good. Like, it wasn't, there was no me there. And in a lot of different ways, because me was, it was a full addict mode. And so it was, yeah, it was a sick time for me. When I went to treatment, and you do like the little survey, like I guess a mental health survey. And I scored really high, which is like the only test you don't want to score high on. And the only thing I didn't want to do, like, I didn't want to kill myself, because like, of my kids and God, like, there's reasons for that, but I didn't want to be around, like, I didn't have self-worth at all. And then when I left there, I scored a 2, which is like really good. And but again, that's when I realized that my codependency maybe wasn't as toxic, but is still there for sure. I see it in a lot of ways. But like you were saying, there's got to be that healthy boundary, or balance, should I say? Because like, there's things I swoop up and do for my husband, without even like, I'm like, I'll just do it for him. And there's like, why do I do that? Did I do that just to make him happy? Like, or
Because he probably
because
does it
he's
for
had a
you.
heart? Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. There is that thing, because I was sitting there talking to my husband last night, and I'm like, but then there's got to be, like, when you're married and you're a couple, like, it's what you do for each other. I guess
The
that
other
the
side isn't going
relationship
to be
itself is
perfect.
toxic.
I
Yeah.
I think that there is a balance of action and duties, and
Yeah.
part of it is, at least in my relationship, part of it is created from our genetic makeup. Like
Hmm.
in our relationship, I make a house, she makes a home. And it's not
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
It
asking
works.
her to, it's because she loves to. And
That's
I
what's
look
Yeah.
and I'm like, I need shelter. Like, that's
Yeah.
my thought. And
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like, we need nice shelter with organized fucking
Yeah.
cupboards and
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care now that I have shelter. Like, unga
Mm-hmm.
bunga.
Yeah.
You know, but it's,
Yeah.
and there's a balance, but it's like, where is that line, you know, like of now, like I'm doing it because this is my role, or I'm doing it because it's going to elicit some kind of
Yeah.
action or react, like I'm playing my role in this play of tragedy, you know, because
Yeah.
that's where I feel like for me it's the worst.
Bye.
It's like
And
I'm playing a role that satisfies someone else's defect and shortcoming.
how
Yeah.
much does that other side even know about the topic in general to begin with, right?
Yeah.
How much does the other side even know what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
if they don't even know what the word means and they're doing it, how are you gonna how do you even have that discussion with them, or do you even have that discussion? Do you pull back your part of it because you know it and they don't? Like, it's wild when you start really
Yeah.
thinking about it, because the other side is going to come into it with probably having no like idea of what that term is. Obviously they know the feelings around it, and you know, good feelings, bad feelings, you're getting too tied
Yeah.
into that feeling, but they don't know what that word is to be able to work on it. So how
Right.
does that play in, you know, to
Well,
how
and
you
even
act?
for the scenario, like with me, like for me, the one that did all the destruction, and so for my husband to see any codependency he has himself, it's like not existing, because I wore that on as a
You're the
badge for
addict.
so
You're the
long.
addict. You're the
Yeah.
addict. It's
So it's
tough.
like, yeah, it is tough. And so there's things like I like to drop a little bit of like recovery onto my husband sometimes, like, say things here and there. And I'm like, that's interesting, right? And
But
it is.
like, now that I think about it, like with you, Brandy, so what we can do, you almost use that tactfully in a loving, caring way. Like if they don't know about that word or how to do it, then you just put into it what you need to stay healthy,
Yeah.
keep the relationship healthy, and you control the whole shit. You control it.
Yeah.
Don't even
Well,
bring
that's
them into
what,
that discussion. You control how much you give, you take, and know that you're doing that for this term, and let them
yeah.
be them. And as long as it's healthy and it's loving and all that shit, you control it. I don't know.
Well, it's how it was for me in the beginning. And I think it's a good balance now, but, like, I can't change anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
And knowing the codependency was there, but not focusing on it, like I knew I could only change my actions.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make my husband feel any other way, like, because I wanted to be treated like I had never used drugs in my life when I got home from treatment. So I
Yeah.
had to really just work on myself only and be, and with that, like we both got recovery out of it, whether he wants to admit it or not. We both did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got a loving wife.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that counseling, if not doing some other kind of step thing together, is almost essential to
Yeah.
just like to have a third party
Yeah.
kind of like, because we're sitting there and we're doing the work, we're digging, we're doing the work, we're
Yeah.
digging, and we look over and we're like, hey, they're still the same. I'm working and I'm digging, and
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
and then it's like we can almost become codependent on them changing in order for us to be happy.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's just like, man, I didn't fucking change for 21 fucking years. How can I expect her to change it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, like she put up with me, yeah. So
Yeah.
are you ready
That's
for a
deep.
question?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
and Andrew would be, yeah. Okay. Codependency thrives on control while recovery thrives on surrender. Ooh, little surrender. Okay. How has surrender freed you from trying to manage other people's lives?
Oh man. I mean, you just said it. You surrender, then I let go. I let go of that responsibility for myself, letting go, surrendering, creating boundaries, being able to create boundaries for myself. Again, that's not to push people away. It's to create space, that genuine, healthy space that I need, and again, recovery must come first. Like, this all wrapped in this, like, staying clean. Recovery must come first. We need to stay clean. So this is something that can really get us outside of ourselves quick, as This is like the first episode that, like, as we're talking, I'm literally coming up with so many things in my brain. I can't even, I'm pinging so much that
32-part series.
bro, I
Yeah.
just can't I can't even write them down fast enough, let alone go back to them because we're already flown through it on another thing. So saying no is not unloving, right? Like, because now that I think about it, saying no in a certain situation is sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for somebody else. No is a complete sentence. It's a complete answer. It sets those boundaries. You know, detachment with love, right? It doesn't mean cutting people off like in a cold way. It means like allowing myself the serenity to rise and fall, like, and let them do their thing, man. You guys, they have their own process, like they're working their own
Yeah.
program. If we try to help somebody out, and they don't, we can't get down on ourselves like that's our program. Like because they failed, it's on us. Like if our sponsee goes out, I know sponsors that like really take it hard when their sponsees go out. They're like, I've never had one, and then another one happens. It's like, oh my God, the world's falling. Well, are you clean?
Yeah.
Are you clean?
What did I do
Yes.
wrong?
What did you do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Like they're just they weren't ready. They're not ready yet. So I got to live my own life, right? That's what this whole thing is about, is being who we are. And if you work a program, you do the step work, you're going to have some confidence in who you are as a person. Like you'll have some confidence to step out there and be like, I'm going to make my own decisions. I don't really care what everybody else is saying. Yeah, you got, in a healthy way, we filter what other people are coming to us with, right? Like if it's somebody that's important to us and they come to us with something, hey, you're acting sideways, I'm going to revisit that. If it's somebody I love and I care about, I'm going to take time to revisit that. I owe myself and that person that. If it's somebody I don't really care about, what am I doing? I'm not even going to think about it twice. I shouldn't, but as an addict, I think about what everybody says about me. It's just we just do. It's what we do. So I gotta understand, am I like when I'm going forward, am I doing this because it's gonna help somebody else out, or is it really gonna ultimately help me out? And if I'm gonna go down because of it, or if I'm gonna be reeling back from something because I'm helping somebody else out, then I don't need to be doing it. Because helping somebody out is supposed to help me out too. Supposed to. So I got to work, working the steps on it, talk about it with my sponsor. He can always keep me abreast of that thing. He's the first one to hit me with the highest form of dishonesty is people pleasing. You know what I mean? We're not being ourselves. So I even thought about for this topic, like, and I'm sure we might get into it with a question, but like how the steps kind of help us with each one of, the steps will help you with this. Start getting your mind on that. Start getting your mind on that. So, yeah.
Love that.
I'm done.
Good.
Okay, Brandy. Codependency thrives on control, while recovery thrives on surrender. How has surrender freed you from trying to manage other people's lives? Or has it?
Ooh, man, I didn't know I had a control problem until I got into recovery. And like I just wanted to keep everything in order. Like I wanted to know what the next step was. I want to know what your next step is, and I want to make sure it's done right. And I didn't realize that was like an issue, So I was just keeping all my ducks in a row kind of thing. But really it's control, like the future tripping at its finest. And it being in recovery and understanding the true definition of surrender, like I can, like I remember my counselor telling me, like, she's like, you can only control your behavior, only your actions. And she said it in a weird way. She's like, somebody comes in here right now and they slam my head on the table and I stab them. I can only control the fact what I did. I can't control what they do. And having to be able to surrender not only my controlling issues, but other people. It was hard. It really was hard, but I'm so grateful for that, because when I was told that I can only control my actions and nobody else's, that simple sentence freed me so much, because I can't, I can't control anything else. I still, control still dips into my life, and I laugh about it, and it's not like it was before, so I can. And it, to me, I like I've had to deal with it with my house. Like I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to my house because I know what it's like when it gets out of control. Sometimes I just have to surrender that. Like, what is that? What is the controlling doing for my soul? It's making me anxious. It's making me overthink. It's giving me resentments. So I got to surrender it. I got to surrender whatever control I think I have um, on any outcome, but especially other people's. And like surrender is such an amazing thing that we are learning to do. We get to do. Surrender is a great gift, really, to be able to do that because I got to surrender any control I think I have over other people for sure. Even when it comes to myself, sometimes I just have to instead of trying to control an outcome, I just need to work towards the outcome. And that's a big one because I'm like, this is how it's going to be. And I'm not thinking about how I'm going to get there. This is how it's going to be. And I just need to instead of controlling it, just go with it. Just focus on this moment right here, the next right thing. That will save me from a lot of control issues. We just do the next right thing, and I'm not going to worry about controlling. But I do see how codependency and controlling, maybe I can be a little controlling, not like harsh parent, but I want to tell my kids what they need to do in order to succeed in something. And if they don't, then it's irritating. Take my advice, damn it. Yeah. So surrender is a huge part of trying to we can't control a lot of things. And surrendering it's a great start to be relieved of that at least. So that's my answer.
I love that. Okay, so codependency thrives on control, while recovery thrives on surrender. How has surrender freed me from trying to manage other people's lives? Well, I've mentioned it on this podcast a bunch of times, but if anybody's new, when I hit my step 5, especially the second time, I was sitting with my sponsor and I had all these other fancy defects. And he was like, acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. And a lack of acceptance to me really is essentially a lack of surrender. And I know I've talked about this because I remember your reaction to it, but my lack of acceptance of those people that I loved and not surrendering to who they are as a perfect form, how damaging I see that now is.
Yeah.
And the incredibly toxic effect, especially on young people that has,
Yeah.
and on my
Yeah.
daughter. And, and so, now I don't like or approve of a lot of decisions other people make if I can see the train wreck that's about to happen.
Yeah.
But I need that train wreck to happen for other people to learn and to grow.
Yeah.
Or I don't
That's
need it
hard.
to happen. I need to let it happen in order.
Yeah.
And so, surrender
Very true.
For me now, is like my hairy God box where I'm sitting at the table and I'm just can't control what they're saying to me, can't control how they react to me, can't control, how they're going to react to what I've done. Because one
Yeah.
of the biggest codependencies for me is that I can do my very best at something, but until I get the attaboy, it means nothing.
Yeah.
And if I don't get that attaboy, I'm resentful and angry. I'm codependently, I'm using other people as my scapegoat for anger. And
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Oh
just
man, I feel that one.
yeah, and it's just so the problem is that if I am, the giver, like you say, right? And I am a giver in different ways all the time. When I am the giver in different ways, I have such a hard time surrendering to not having expectations on that.
Yeah.
And that's
That's a
one
great point. That's a great point.
and
I feel
one
that.
one of the things that the last couple weeks for my two-way prayer, my question was, how can I love more completely? But the last 3 days, because of something that came up on Wednesday, it's just been, how can I surrender more completely? Right? And it's this was one of the things that really got me yesterday is one of the answers. Don't ask a question I want a specific answer to. Like that
Ooh.
right there. It's like,
I wouldn't ask
dude,
any
when I
questions.
wrote
I
that
would
out,
never
when
ask
I
one.
wrote that out, I knew that was my higher power talking to me. Like I
That's
was
what
just
that-
like,
Yeah.
whoa. I'm like,
I'd be like, hey, Brandy,
I always want
never
a
mind.
specific answer, you know, and it's
Me
because
too,
right
me
there, it's
too.
like
Yeah.
expectations, codependency on what they're gonna say. Like they're
Wow.
like, and so like when I looked at that, I'm like goosebumps, and like message for the day, you know, message for the day. It's like, whoa, let them actually have their own opinion and desires right there,
Yeah.
you know, because now I'm codependent on their response. My happiness is codependent on them responding in the way that I want.
Wow.
Right?
I feel like we're only going to scratch the surface on this, like barely.
I
Part
know.
one
Barely,
of
I had to
part
barely,
write
one of
that.
barely.
67.
This
I had
is
to
like,
write. I've already written so much stuff down that you guys have said. Like,
bro, I have too.
yeah.
Like, I've got carpal tunnel from right now. Like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I've been
Yeah.
writing. Like, I feel like we're only going to scratch the surface. It's so cool, though. It's so cool. It's like the new kid on the block. It's like that new
Yep.
thing that we talk about. All right, cool. So, you ready for my question?
Yes.
All right, so let's go into something like this.
Going to Brandy though.
Going to Brandy. What spiritual principles helped me break free from codependency today? Let's get a little positive.
Ooh. You know, I'd say, definitely faith, faith and willingness and patience is a big one. And these are all things that after I can identify this codependency, I think that that's a big part to it. But yeah, patience. And what else would it be? I feel stumped for some reason. But definitely
Just
it's
take a
something where
breath.
when
Take a breath.
I know I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, let me think. There's so much, integrity is a big one, and and then humility, because it's not always just about me. And it could also be like, like that's when I gotta, like, let it go. Let it go in a way of not like, because ultimately my codependency, I might be focusing on someone else, but it's for my own gain. And that's something that I have to learn to be able to let go. And and my higher power all the way when it comes to that. I don't think that I would be able to practice any of the principles without some type of with a higher power. But I just hope that when it comes to it, like, the acknowledgement of stuff, like, am I willing to work on it at that point? Am I willing to look into it deeper? And I think so. I know so, because I obviously came up with the topic, but it's something that, without love and I don't know, a good chunk, if not all, of the spiritual principles, can you practice and not being, and not, or straying away from codependency? Because I think that it's more of a stray away than just like, I'm not going to be codependent today, you know? And, but yeah, I don't know. I feel stumped on that one, because I feel like all of them, there's so many different angles. The spiritual principles are a huge thing. If you got even a handful of those in your pocket on any given situation, I think you're good. It's
Oh,
what
yeah.
it's what we're built on. So I'll leave it
I
there.
think you knocked it out of the park, Brandy. You hit faith. That was my
I was
first.
like, there's so many.
My
Yeah.
first one I came up with was faith,
Yeah.
right? Like, but yeah, I'm gonna ask you now, Mr. Milan. What, and I guess I ask like this: what spiritual principles help you most break free from codependency today?
Well, I'm going to credit my favorite reading right now. And love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love
Ooh,
does
yeah, I
not
like
delight in evil, but
undefeated.
rejoices in truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. I
Yeah.
think if I could freaking love completely, like that would solve a codependency issue, because my love would be free. My love would not have strings. My, like,
Yeah.
like,
Non-conditional.
yeah, like, I've been saying it lately, man. One record of wrong, which is generally my reaction,
Yeah.
is a record of wrong. It doesn't mean I have to have a whole fucking list, But if I'm basing my reaction on your action, I'm not basing my reaction on who my true self is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and every time there's a string on your action, that string pulls me back and forth too, all the time. And you know, so like love for sure, obviously surrender. You know, while you were just gone for a second there, Andrew, I was saying acceptance. Like when it came up in my step 5, you know, acceptance of others, of who they are as they are, being perfect for who they are. That is when I am trying to change you, because I think I know a better way. I think I can save you from making a mistake. Just look at what I did. You know, like there's so much right there. And then also, you know, things like trust. Like trust that
It's a good one.
trust that I am worth myself. You know, like I having so, and trust that you're gonna make it through without me fucking controlling the whole situation. You know, gosh, I don't know if there's one
Yeah,
that
that's a big
wouldn't
one.
apply. You know, like I'm doing that list of 100 with my sponsee where we talk every morning. And man, I'm like rifling through them in my head, and there's not a single one that doesn't apply to to reducing codependency. And the reason is because they're the right thing to do. You
And they're
know,
never in
like
conflict.
if you look at any spiritual principle, it's honest, pure, unselfish, and loving. Codependency is the opposite of all those.
Yeah.
Like
It's a beast, man. This is a beast.
it's usually dishonesty to yourself. It's definitely not pure. It's usually selfishly motivated. And if you actually break it down to a good definition of love, it's probably not love.
Bro, so
Yeah.
what we're ultimately saying here is codependency is the anti-spiritual principle
Yeah.
Whoa.
because it goes against all of them. It's kind of
Right?
like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the mega anti.
Yes.
So that's why we need to bring more awareness to it. That's why we're all scared to talk about it. That's why we're all
I
scared to talk about it.
know.
We're like living in these spiritual principles, and we're talking about the devil now. You know,
Yeah.
it's
That's so true. That's so true. It's like it's so true because we want to live in these spiritual principles, and we do. But to deny the fact that there's still some of that other the opposite of it still there, you know, it's
and
we
how
gotta
insidious
acknowledge
is
it.
it that it took us meeting right here to really think about
Yeah.
how much weight that holds. We didn't know that coming into
Yeah.
this thing, how much weight this thing held. Think about that. Every spiritual principle goes against everyone because every one of them can be
Yeah.
used. Every one, 100 plus. So,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, did I? I just had to throw that out there, Milan.
No, you didn't cut me off. No,
Cool.
that was like
I'm
the
going to
ship
answer
had
this
landed.
now. So now so that's where I kind of go was what spiritual principles helped me most break free from codependency. So, knocked it out of the park, but where I want to start is with honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Got to start with honesty, man. You know what I mean? Like honesty is so important. It's so, it's that it's one of the hows of this program, but honesty, if I'm not honest with myself about what I was doing, why I'm doing it, I told myself I was helping, but deep down I just wanted control. Don't we want
Yeah.
control? That's what we want when we're in that. We do certain things in a relationship to get more control in that relationship, for the most part, and when we're wrapped up. So when we can kind of see that, be honest with ourselves, be honest with how we're coming into the relationship, it helps out. Am I acting from a place of genuine love, or am I trying to fill a hole outside of me by fixing somebody else? Right? I got to ask myself that. The next one I thought about was courage. It takes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
courage. It takes a lot of courage, right? Because codependency makes me an afraid person. I'm afraid. I'm
Yeah.
afraid to say no. I'm afraid to set boundaries. I'm afraid
It's
to live
riddled with
alone.
fear, really.
Riddled with fear. It's riddled with fear.
Yeah.
So that's why you came out with faith, boom, because that's my next one is faith. There's so much fear in it, and faith's got bigger muscles than fear. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
When fear comes knocking at that door, answer it with faith, and fear's not there anymore, ever. So that's probably the most powerful one here. Got to have faith, man, because there's a lot of fear wrapped up in that. I thought that if I said the right thing, did the right thing, stayed long enough, that they change. If I loved them enough, they would change. Brings me to love, man. Love
Yeah.
wins out, man. Just as negative as as codependency is on these spiritual principles, as a negative bastard as it is, love's God, man.
Yeah.
Love is God. Love does not lose. Love, I don't care how big codependency can be in your life. If you can come with some love, get some love in your life and understand where that's coming from, and start acting in an unconditionally loving manner towards what you want to be doing, like, you'll be fine. You'll be just fine.
Makes me think about, like, it's like the word is like, I picture like the word love, and then there's things like codependency and control, and you got to like wipe it all away to just see the love. Like, there's things that can be piled on top of it that maybe people just will think, well, that's love. I love them.
Yeah.
But let's if you take that away, like that's not what it, like, that's what
Look
you're
at the
seeing.
motives behind it.
Yeah, yeah. And when you can see
Dig
that,
deep.
then you can just wipe it all, and it's like, okay, then that's like the genuine, natural love,
For me, the ultimate kryptonite to codependency is unconditional love.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the ultimate kryptonite, man.
Yeah. Unconditional.
Loving completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a little bit of rigorous honesty in there, but loving completely, man.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay. How do you keep a balance so your empathy does not turn into codependency?
Ooh. That has been something that I've been kind of exploring in my brain recently quite a lot because, like we were talking about earlier about the exchange inside a relationship, right? Like, there's things I like to do. I make a tea every morning and I put it beside my wife when she's sleeping, and she wakes up to a tea in a travel mug that's all warm every morning. And that's not codependency. That's me wanting to start her day nicely, you know? And that makes her happy, right? But I'm not doing it because I need her to give me an attaboy for it. In fact, sometimes when she's like, thanks for the tea, I'm like, oh shit, it took away the service element of it, but it's true. And she's just expressing gratitude. But, when I look at it, I have to see that I can make her happy, but her happiness doesn't need to depend on me. And that is like a big twisting, morphing thing constantly inside my relationship. Like, I'm just talking about it with my wife because I spend the most time here with her, and with other people, it's really even harder to define because I have less experimentational time. Like, you try something in your marriage, you're like, whoa, okay, that didn't work, but you've got 50 more chances to try something different today.
Yeah, less data.
Yeah.
Less data.
Yeah, less data. That's right. My subset is small with other people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And so I'm always kind of looking to see, like, first of all, I need to get myself to that serene, peaceful, content place, because until I'm there, I'm definitely going to try to seek some sort of validation from her. I've realized that it's just like, if I am not content with me, I'm seeking like a sale to go through at work. I'm seeking somebody to give me the attaboy in the family, or I'm even seeking codependency with food. Like, where it's just like, oh, I'm having a shitty day, I want some fucking ice cream or cookies, And
That's me.
That's
Yeah.
Brandy. I was gonna say, the first person that came to my mind was Brandy.
I'm having a good day. I want some ice cream.
Let me get that ice cream, Jack.
literally though, Wednesday was the first
Pain rock.
time I actually said, nope, I'm not getting that because it will not make me feel good. It was the first time I won against food in a moment that I needed to surrender inside my entire recovery in my life.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and it was funny because I was at a meeting, and me and one of the other addicts was like, I'm like, Dairy Queen after this, it's been a motherfucker. And then what came up was that Wednesday's JFT was choosing life, but it was about loving yourself. And I was like, we read it and I looked at him and he looked at me and we just shook our heads. We're like, we're not going. And we both went So
God's great, man.
But
God's
so
That is.
I think I think it's something that I will constantly have to watch my motives for, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that there's a cut and dry thing. And I don't think that I need the same thing from others at any point in my life. You know, I I'm really, really getting to a point though where it's just like you could just fucking drop me off at a bus stop by myself and I'd stand there for a week and be happy. Like I don't need
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need something else going on,
Yeah.
and that's a really fucking awesome place to be getting to. So I don't
Yeah.
Well,
even know if I answered the question at all, but I sure fucking
That was
love you
great.
too.
and it doesn't matter.
And no,
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
that
That
was
was great.
great.
That was beautiful, man.
It was. Love you. Okay, Andrew. How do you keep a balance so that your empathy doesn't turn into codependency?
That's where I kind of went to, like, that people pleasing doesn't turn into codependency too, you know? Um, that's where I got to ask myself, like, why am I saying yes to this person? Why am I saying yes to this thing they're
Mm,
asking me to do, you know? And then I got to ask, excuse me, I gotta ask myself, does it align with my values? You know, does it align with my values today? Or am I saying yes, like, just because, like I'm having a fear of like being disliked or rejected
yeah.
or abandoned, you know? So I got to really just check my motives on the front side of that, and not just do it. There's that pause button, man. That also so important pause button where you can pause and like look at the situation as a clean person, you know, an addict, that a magic
Yeah.
motherfucker, right? Like we can kind of laser in, but um you know, as an addict, I find myself not, you know, I don't do that. I'm trying to draw more awareness to that by talking about it today. Um, but saying no doesn't mean I'm selfish anymore either, right? Like
Yeah.
if I say no, I'm not selfish. It just makes me honest. I'm just being
Yeah.
honest. You know, we talk about that honesty all the time. And codependency, I have right here, people pleasing becomes codependency when it's about controlling how other feels rather than simply being kind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're being kind to the relationship and it's all good, but when you start wanting to control what they're doing, you know, taking their inventory, shit like that, that's when you got to check yourself, man. That's when like having people around you is really important, because people around you can check you if you're tapped in with other people. Community connection, right? The opposite of our disease. It doesn't allow us to get out there, but so far, because people will reel us back in, man. Sponsor, you know, somebody in our
Mm,
network, you know. So that's why it's so important to talk about our feelings, come on in these meetings, share about what we're going through, because it doesn't allow these codependencies, these selfishness, all that shit, pride, ego. It doesn't allow that shit to come in but so much, because like you check that shit at the door in these meetings, man. When we get together, man,
yeah.
we pray in and pray out. We check our foot. We take our shoes off and we enter the building and we act
Yep.
accordingly. And if you don't, we got trusted servants that'll be like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on here? What's going on with you? You know, or we're going to be talking about it next time or later. You know, trusted servants will be having a meeting about your ass. If you get like it's just
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
works, man. It's how this thing works. You know, if you attend meetings, you can't act you can't act out errantly. We'll check you. The traditions check us. You
Yeah.
know, the traditions are all about that love, man. All about that love. All about bringing somebody in here who
Unity.
who lives in Nicaragua and has had $30 to in their whole life, or somebody on the streets of New York with it from a trust fund. Like somebody coming into these meetings has to feel the same, has to be able to love and understand what is going on here every time. It's so important, man.
Hmm.
It's the most important thing. So that's kind of where my head went, man. Like a simple tool, man. Pause before saying yes. Pause before
Yeah.
saying yes. Ask yourself, do I have the time, energy, do I have the emotional space for this right now? Before I say yes to this, do I have the capability to help this person out? Because if I don't, bro, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So get honest with yourself,
And
man. Love yourself.
I love that.
my my friend, this is when I was active addiction, and like obviously I was just, I was ran by codependency, people pleasing. But she's like, you need a sweatshirt that just says no on it, Brandy, because I didn't know how to say no. Like I can't say it, so
and
just read it.
and no.
And
And
no,
no.
yeah,
And
and
no.
no. Yeah.
That's funny. It's so
I
funny.
know. I'm like, oh, because I can't say it. So just please read my shirt.
Oh, there's an issue there if they're making a shirt. We're gonna make a shirt about it.
Yeah,
So
right, right.
that's
And I'm the
funny.
type of person that's like, I don't care what people think about me. And that's a defense mechanism because I
Mm-hmm.
do care. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to care, but I don't need to circle my every movement around it for sure.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So how do I keep a balance so my empathy doesn't turn into codependency? So this one, like, I definitely like the codependency that I had in my marriage when active addiction, I don't believe is there anymore. I think there's more empathy. There's, and like I was saying, like there's like that role. And I always say I know my role, okay? And it's so I don't see that so much there. I doesn't mean I couldn't dip into it, but I'm my lifestyle and like my self-worth is so different. I do love a good attaboy when I've cleaned the house. But like I haven't in a while, but I tell my husband, like, I worked really hard today. So when you
You
get
better
home,
bake me a cake and some
yeah,
ice cream.
don't
I
forget to
want a
tell me how
parade.
nice it looks. Yeah. Like I like an attaboy, don't get me wrong, but I don't live for them anymore.
Like a healthy pity
I don't
party.
expect them. Yeah, I don't expect them anymore. And in my relationship too, like I know that my husband's a man of few words. And I had to kind of like, I had to realize that. But when it comes to my kids, which is another hard one because obviously we need to care about what their actions are and what they're doing and what the outcome is and all that stuff. But like my empathy can turn into codependency very quickly because when it comes to like you got to let them sink or swim. Well, what if they don't swim? Like, okay, so I'm going to do it for them to
Get
make
good at
sure they
CPR.
swim.
To not
Yeah,
deal with the
yeah,
feelings on the
right.
back end
Yeah.
if they fail, right? To not deal with
Yeah,
those feelings.
yeah, like the fear of them not succeeding at something. So I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure like my hands in it first and like I'm, like control that. And that doesn't create healthy adults for sure.
No.
It's me like, and I think like it's a love. Like I feel like if they're hurt, I'm hurt. And there's like a part of that, parent to it, of course, but that doesn't mean I should stop that from, them living life. And like I always say, like we gotta let them make mistakes. And because how is they gonna learn if I'm like, oh, I did this already, so don't do it like that because I already did it. If you need it done again, let me know. I'll do it for you. Like that's how I feel like sometimes. Like, and that's not, so I know that even though codependency could still dip into my relationship, I really have to maintain a fine line when it comes to my parenting. And that's the boundaries. I gotta have the boundaries. Uh I gotta stop doing shit for my kids. So my husband and we were talking about the other day, because like, codependency comes in a lot of forms. Like my daughter, she's works full time now and she's, applying for college. So I fold her laundry. And really, I sit and watch TV. It doesn't bother me. I don't have to bring it downstairs. I don't do the hard part to it. My husband's like, well, why do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. And then I was sitting there thinking about it and I was like, I think that a lot of the stuff that I do that I don't need to do for my kids is the stuff that my mom didn't do for me. Like if she wasn't home when I was, 16, I found out I cooked dinner. Like I wasn't like she wasn't there. And so like I'm without even knowing being so codependent towards them because it's what I didn't have when I was a kid. And it was that neglect that I'm now turned into like overwhelming, like, I'll do it for you. Let me just do it for you. Like I can't, oh my God, thinking about it. Like I did the enrollment part to the college for my daughter.
Mhm.
And
Mhm. Mhm.
fuck.
Mhm.
And how is she gonna like know? And I was sitting there thinking, like, when I enrolled into like went back to school after I got clean, like I didn't know how to do it and I did it. So now like, and I did it for her.
Might as well do it for her
So
then.
like, yeah, right. I think and let's be honest right here. I did it for her boyfriend.
There you go.
And so I even emailed their school,
While
but
I'm
that they
here.
just left. Yeah. And I'm like, can you email so and so's transcripts to him and to the school? And I'm like, why am I doing this? First of all, they're 18 years old.
He's got a mama.
I know he lives with us. So I'm like,
Oh, that's cool. That's what I was gonna say. Dude's got a mama. What the hell?
And it's right here. She's right here.
yeah. And
That's
so,
cool.
and so it's definitely one that, but I guess what I'm really saying, like when it comes to saying like I'm riddled with it, like it's at different phases in my life. Rather, I was the child, then the relationship, and now being the parent. So I gotta try to maintain an empathy, because I'm human, and not let it turn to codependency. And just thinking of or talking about empathy for a moment, which is kind of like a squirrel moment, but same topic. My husband, he said something to me and like years ago. And so when I broke my leg, he was my main provider. Like he was my nurse when the nurses weren't there. And he had to worry about everything. And he said to me one day, and of course I was breaking his heart every day with my addiction. And he's like, I don't have him. He's like, I've lost all my empathy. And I'm like, that's weird. And I talked to a friend of mine who's married to a narcissist. She's like, nope, it's a thing. It's a thing. And so I'm like, wait, what? So we didn't talk about it for years until I said something to my sponsor recently. She's like, well, maybe ask him. So I asked him, and I was like, so do you still feel like you don't have empathy? And he's like, yeah. And I go, is it from when I broke my leg? He goes, yeah. So it wasn't like this, heated conversation. It was, those are his real feelings. And so I've been trying to, like, like, I love a good worksheet, like I love to go towards things. So I'm like, how to help somebody get back their empathy. So, so that's a thing, to lose empathy. And
That's a
it's
self-protection thing.
yes, it really, really is. And he's
Yeah.
like, he goes, I sit there and like, he goes, I want to, and I say things that sound like it, but I'm just saying it. He's like, but it's not there. And so, call it codependency and control. I'm going to
It doesn't
underline
want to be vulnerable.
like,
It is for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, because he, as a child, he's, there was instability, and then like he gets in his marriage, and like the shit that I put him through, he had to protect himself. He
How
really
many
did.
times
Yeah.
can he care and be disappointed and brokenhearted?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's
Like
built scars.
eventually
Yeah.
that heart is broken.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
builds
So
it back
I
up. There's
hope,
scars around it, scars.
yeah. Oh, definitely. I hope that and that's what, like, I can't tell, obviously I can't tell them how to do things, or how to, because our loved ones have to recover too, no matter what it is they do also. But I hope that one day, like, rather it be like my side, like, I'll start talking about something, for him to be able to get that empathy back, and not for my gain, but for his own, his own heart. And
You,
so it's a big one.
you know what that is? You know what? But that's where our clean time matters so much. Like it doesn't matter much, but like for the people around us, when we start getting some clean time under about 4 or 5 years, you start getting some of that shit back, man. You
Yeah.
get that shit back with your loved ones, man. It takes time. You
Yeah.
can't just come out of like rehab and be like you did.
But it's got to be recovery too. Like,
Yeah.
like there was a guy at the meeting I was at last night, and this guy's got a lot of time. He's an older guy, and he's like, for the first 6 years, he's like, I felt like I was taking dirty time. And he's like, I wasn't using. He's like, but I just wasn't living by the principles.
When
Yeah.
we're in the program.
Yeah, and it's just like, so I think it is clean time wrapped in with recovery on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not white knuckling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No
Like,
white
dude,
knuckling.
how many miserable people do you know with 30 years who have not a fucking principle in their afternoon?
Yeah. Clean
And-
time is not.
and-
That's
and
what
I'm not-
I'm yeah, it's all about the recovery for me. Like, I'm super grateful to be clean and not have a desire to use. Hands down, that's first for sure. But the recovery that I have gotten and I haven't even tapped into yet is the gold for me. Like, that's where it's at. And with me, like, it helps me like be a better person for myself, but for my loved ones. And then that's when, like, maybe the guards can go down a little bit, and like, it's maybe not so guarded. So, but it's the recovery. That's why I'm like, I would give myself homework a lot of times. I'm like, I want to do this.
It's the only way that we start living like normal human beings again, man.
Yeah.
It's the only way we can start living
Yeah.
like we thought we never could.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
only way.
100%.
The only way.
I never thought I would want to be clean and work on defects.
And now that we are, we're like layering this thing up with all this good
Yeah.
shit. Like you just gotta hold on till you get there. Like it
Yeah.
happens, shit breaks eventually. And you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Milan does not even have 2 years clean yet, and he's got it. I could see
Yeah.
it. Like there's some people that come in here and they're like, I'm staying clean, I'm miserable. But if you lean into this program, you lean into the people, you try to get what these people are giving you, man. Like you can have anything you want, man. You can have anything you want.
Yep.
Be as happy as you want.
You just you gotta climb. You gotta climb.
Got to, man. Got to.
You know, like some people,
you can't let it fall. It's not going to fall in your lap.
Nope.
It's not just work. Like work is like staying in a stationary position. Like I could be building boxes, but it's a climb. It really is a climb in recovery. Like it's you're going from here, and I swear you're elevating your connection to the universe.
We're climbing a mountain, like we're going to, like we're doing a marathon, but at the end when you get done, like you feel so good. Imagine climbing that mountain that you've been thinking about climbing. Like Milan, you got mountains everywhere where you live. You climb mountains every day.
I climbed 3 mountains this week.
Bro, but did you climb one that you haven't climbed before?
Cool.
Maybe. Or
you know what? I did it in a way I never did. Like I actually jogged up this mountain yesterday. I was like Rocky IV, man.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
It's like I'm literally getting the final shit from cigarettes out. Like I climbed these 2 mountains on Sunday and Monday. I started coughing out shit. I came home and it was like I could sing for like 12 seconds longer in one note. And I was like, oh my God. Like I thought I had plateaued and I just had lung damage. And now that I know, there's no stopping me now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I love it. I love your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
The meaning of life is to give life meaning. Go ahead.
That's right.
Has everybody got 13 minutes left?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I'm going to ask one more question. We'll try to get through this.
I don't want to leave.
I've
got a lot to learn.
Andrew's moving in.
Yeah, me too.
Me and Brandon will just be sitting on this podcast for like 6 hours.
I'll just tag back in.
Just
tag back in.
Just host me.
I come home after work. I'm like, hey guys, how's it going?
We got the parking lot.
We're still talking about codependency.
But at least you're not codependent on me not going to work.
No. You come into me and Brandon sitting here with our notebooks and our like pads and paper.
I'll be like, what'd you discover while I was gone?
Wendy's here. A couple other people are here. Like,
hey man, where's JJ? JJ's got some shit.
JJ and Tracy are here.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Funny. I love you guys, man.
Woo.
All right.
Okay, when we rescue others, we rob them of their own growth. How has recovery taught you to let others face their own consequences? And this one's for Andrew, but I already know this one's for Brandy.
Hell yeah. Look,
it is.
For me, like true, like care, like if I care about somebody, it's about like offering support without like taking a responsibility for someone else's emotions. Like I can't take responsibility for someone else's emotions, but I can still offer support. And it's not like my thing. Like it's not like I did that, so I need to know what the back end of it is. I just want to help somebody out today. I'm not worrying about any. I don't have any angles. I'm not like, I'm just trying to keep you alive today. And if that gives you a little bit of love, teaches you a couple things while we're doing it, that's it, man. That's the only thing I'm here for. It's the only thing I'm here for.
Man.
I have a thing right now. Codependency thrives when we believe someone else's well-being depends on our constant involvement.
Yeah.
Like that's where it thrives, man. That's where that shit is fucking coming in here, haymakers, man. You know?
Yeah.
But that's where that's we talk about this unconditional love. I look, and I've got a couple fucking heaters. Look, hear me out. Unconditional love is the only thing powerful enough to wipe out codependency. Like straight wipe that bitch off the map. It's the only thing. And I think it's so important now that we're talking about it. I think there's so much involved in this. I think there should be an IP on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there should be. Yeah.
I think there should be. I like the triangle of self-obsession. I think there should be something where it puts a little more light on how fucking crazy this could be. And I think it takes people out without people even knowing it. Before they even, and they might not ever come back to ever know what this truly means. That's how important I think this is, man. I think it can come from so many nasty angles, man.
What did you say? I want to write it down. That codependency
thrives when we believe someone else's well-being depends on our constant involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number of times I thought I was a caretaker and I was a caremaker.
Yeah.
You're done.
I wasn't a caretaker. I was a caremaker.
So are we trying to throw through that real quick kind of like thing, like a rapid round or something? Is that what we're trying to do? Or?
Well, you know what? That was a good amount of time. That was like 13 divided by 3.
Cool. That's what I think. That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
Okay, meeting makers, Brandy, 8 to 21. When we rescue others, we often rob them of their own growth. How has recovery taught you to let others face their own consequences?
Man, I'm gonna bring it back to my kids again because
I know. I knew it.
I mean, and like it doesn't, like it's a fine line because it's like, well, you're parenting them, but like, how many times do I shield them from consequences? Like if I'm the mom that will call the school and be like, what the fuck? And really it's like, yeah, like what the fuck? And really it's like maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe they need to deal with it on their own. And like I've wanted to like, call my daughter's work before. And I just can't do, I can't do that for sure. But when I shield them from stuff or, like maybe there'll be things will happen and I won't fully tell my husband exactly what they did. And because it's like, I talk to them, like they understand, but where's the consequence to it? So what are they going to grow from it? And there was times where like my son had gotten in trouble more than once. And finally I was like, I'm telling dad, like, you're not getting it anymore. And from that point on, it was like, we parent the kids. I'm not going to like give them a pep talk and move them along. And, it totally, if they don't, to not be able to like deal with the consequences of our actions, what do we learn? And I know a girl that like when her mom had passed away, and she was like 19 when her mom passed away or something like that. But her mom did everything for her, everything. And so she didn't even know how to make a doctor's appointment. And that's the stuff I fear. Like, I don't want that. I want to be there for my kids and show them, but I got to stop doing it. And I need to show them. And with my daughter being 18 now, and all of a sudden, I don't know if it's where you guys live, but where I live, when your kids are 18, you are not irrelevant anymore, and you cannot call for anything. And so there's things that's been forced that my daughter's got to do because she's 18 now, and I can't, I can't fill all the information out like I did with her college. There's things that have to be done, and if you don't do it, there's consequences to it because adulting is a real
She's
thing.
a woman. She's a woman now.
Yeah. And I had the doctor tell me that like, well, when next time she has to call and make her appointment. And I was like, I make appointments for my husband all the time and he's in his 40s and that's not a problem. So, but I think about it now, like, which it's like, she should, should be able to do that. And, but, I want to protect my kids from feeling that way. And I think about how it was when I was a kid. Like there's times I've felt disappointed, like when I've done something dumb or like felt bad, but I learned from those actions. Maybe not the first time, but those were there. Like I can still think about the feelings today and know that I came at it as, like, okay, I learned from that. And to shield them from that kind of stuff, it really is not, it's disguised as love, but it's not, it's toxic. It really isn't good. Like our kids how else are they gonna learn? How else are people going to grow in any action if somebody's there to clean it up or to go walk before them and make sure the shit don't stink?
Love wrapped in sacrifice. Love wrapped in sacrifice.
Yes, I wrote that down too. Yes,
there it is.
And it's for me to like do something and worry about the outcome of how it could be affecting them, but still fucking do it because my heart's like, oh, I don't want them to feel like that. I don't want them to feel bad,
Confusing being indispensable with being loved. There it is again.
Yeah.
There's that part.
Yeah. And you gotta let people grow. You can't stop people from their own growth. And that's for kids, adults, addicts, non-addicts, like all of us. Growth is important. And if shielding them from that is making you feel better, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Yep.
And so it's definitely something, it's a learning process for me. And I have to acknowledge it today and see it for what it is. I mean, it's a big thing for me to say this out loud that I'm an enabling parent. And, but I know I can work on it. I know I can, because without even thinking about it, I've been able to work on it in my own relationship. It's how I look at myself and look at them differently. And so it's a big one.
Your topic. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your topic. You picked it.
I
You picked it.
I needed this conversation for sure, because it's something I want to dig into. I definitely want to dig
You
and
asked for this.
peel back layers of it, because all at once would be a lot. But there's a lot of aha moments in this conversation here, so I'll leave it there.
I love that.
Love that.
How has recovery taught me to let others face their own consequences? You know, even before I was in recovery, I often thought back to, like, I didn't have a dad around, and my mom was a teacher. She had to work, obviously, to pay for our house and our home, and so I essentially was a latchkey kid from 4 years on, and like, it really is part of the reason, or the reason, that I'm independent, that I'm very problem solving, that I'm a fucking survivor. You know, like, that I'm not afraid to walk anywhere in the dark, because there's a good chance I'm going to be the one walking away. And, you know, and my daughter never had to go through that. You know, like, she had us driving her to school or whatever. Like, she had two parents all over her who just loved the crap out of her.
Yeah.
And you know, like, part of me was wanting to give her things that I didn't have, like safety, you know, like, but the problem is that then you don't make a fighter, you know, like, and I'm not condoning being like a physical fighter, but there is the eye of the tiger, that hungry for survival thing. If you haven't had to flex that muscle, it doesn't get strong.
Yeah.
You know, like, we lived on a tiny island. She ran around naked till she was 7 in the woods at our place. Like, when we moved to town when she was 7, it was like, whoa, this girl doesn't know how to cross a road. Like, you know, like, she didn't know, look both ways. 'Cause she didn't have to fucking exercise that muscle. And so it really has shown me that it's like, you know, that if recovery has taught me anything, it's that failure is the path to growth, you know. And honestly, before recovery, I really didn't look at failure like a good thing, you know. Like, I've said it many times, I was a math guy, man. Either you're fucking right or you're wrong, and if you're wrong, it means you don't know it, you know. Like, and it was just like, my pattern of learning was observe, learn, act, and correction was just, I didn't observe well enough, you know. And so that's been a big thing now, where it's just like, you know, just kind of trying to foster her independence. Even, you know, like, she just was in Mexico back and forth 4 times on her own. She's fucking independent. She just went to Guatemala and climbed a volcano by herself. Like, this girl is independent. But it's having those moments where it's just like, shut the fuck up, you know. Like, I'm gonna get this. This is what I'll get. You keep locations on your phone when you're traveling. Like that's all I'm gonna get. I am not getting the message as many times a day as I want. I'm not getting I'm okay. Like, if she flies, she tells us where she lands. She tells us where she's going. She shares some itinerary with us. But like, other than that, I have to be like, hands off. And so, codependent, much as I don't want to be, I still am. But I'm growing, and I'm learning, and I'm loving, and I really love you guys. And I want to do a part 2 to this 4 weeks from now.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Remember, don't get confused. Indispensable with being loved, and then you know, love just wrapped in sacrifice, man. It's insidious as shit, bro. Unconditional love. It's the only thing that'll win out, bro. It's the only thing that'll beat it. It's the only thing tough enough, I think.
Brandy, you got something to say before we sign off?
I just, you know, I think it's a great topic, and there's so many things that I think that we haven't even explored yet. And I mean, what better way to do it than right here with you guys? You know, it's like, it's an opportunity to say those things that I've been thinking about, or even dive in. So I think it's I think we've definitely scraped the surface of it, but there's so much more to it. So much more.
I'm going to download the codependency literature before the next one and look at their workbook.
There should be an IP, bro. I swear to God.
There really should be.
Yeah,
man. There should be.
So layered, bro.
I love. Okay,
I gotta run
my
for
friend,
work,
guys. Thank you for being here for me, both.
Yes,
man.
I love you.
Yeah, I love
so
you.
much.
Yeah, man.
And everybody out there, tune in next episode for more effing recovery fun.
Guys.
Bye, everybody.
Right.
Love y'all.
Anytime. Please help us help others. If you've liked what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.